Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel RRP Tutorials. In this video, we are going to wind up with the chapter The Adventures of Toto written by Ruskin Bond. Well, before we begin today's class, let's have a quick recapitulation first of the previous video. The ticket collector had a close look at the tortoise, pressed it with his forefinger slightly, and announced that he did not require to buy a ticket for it as it did not fall in the category of a dog. The narrator's grandmother ultimately came to know of Toto's presence in the house. She allotted him space in the stable along with his family donkey Nana. First night in the stable, grandfather visited Toto. He found Nana restless, pulling its rope in order to stay away from the mass of hay. Grandfather hit Nana on the back in order to stop it. Nana jumped back with a jerk, and Toto was dragged along with her. During winter season, Toto enjoyed having warm bath. He would cleverly and cunningly test the water temperature before starting his bath. He would follow the narrator and step into the tub, 1 foot at a time. Finally, he would get into the water until he was up to his neck. So, once he found himself comfortable, he would rub himself with soap. When the water became cold, he would come out of it and run at the stove in the kitchen in order to dry himself. Toto got irritated if he was laughed upon. He would get hurt and then he would refuse to take bath. The narrator recollects an incident when Toto had almost boiled himself. Water was boiling in a large kettle on the stove. Toto climbed up to the stove and removed the lid from it. He felt that the water was warm enough for him to take a bath. He entered the kettle with his head out of it. When the water started boiling, it became unbearable for him. He thought of coming out of the kettle, but as the temperature outside was cold for him, he stayed in it. For a while, Toto continued hopping up and down with an effort to come out of the kettle. It was when the narrator's grandmother arrived and hauled him out and saved his life. So let's begin with today's class, The Adventures of Toto. If there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. One day, at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed, and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arm. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. So it says that if there is a part of the brain that is specialized for mischief, then that part in Toto's brain was highly developed as he had great ability to do mischief. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever the narrator's aunts passed him, he tried to tear their dresses and make holes in them. The narrator recalls another incident when Toto made a lot of mischief. At lunchtime, a dish of rice was placed on the dining table. When the family went to eat, they found Toto eating it. The narrator's grandmother yelled at Toto, and in retort, he threw a plate at her. When the aunts tried to catch Toto, he threw a glass of water in their faces. When the grandfather reached, Toto left the plate through a window with a dish of pulao along with him. Toto stayed out the entire afternoon. He was found sitting on a branch of the jackfruit tree, determined to eat all the pulao. As the grandmother had yelled at him, he wanted to infuriate her even more, and so, after eating the rice, he threw the dish and he chatted with delight when the plate broke into several pieces. Well, now the concluding few lines of the story. Obviously, Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that. We were not well to do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So, grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. Therefore, as a final point, the grandfather realized that Toto was not the kind of pet which could be suitable to be kept at home. They could not afford the frequent losses that was done by him. That means by Toto. He tore clothes, curtains, wallpapers, and broke dishes. Hence, the grandfather found the same Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for a sum of 3 rupees. That means at a loss of rupees 2. Well, that's the end of the chapter. Well, now, few words that we have encountered towards the end of the text. First word is spite, which means a desire to hurt or annoy or offend someone. Then we have the another word as chattered, which means the sound made by the monkey. One more expression is there, which is well to do. That means in a good and wealthy state, financially good. So the narrator was not in a financial state to bear the monkey any longer. Well, now we have some questions following the text. Question number one, think about it. How does Toto come to grandfather's private zoo? Question number two, Toto was a pretty monkey. In what sense is Toto pretty? Question number three, why does grandfather take Toto to Saharanpur and how? Question number three itself, why does the ticket collector insist on calling Toto a dog? Question number four, how does Toto take a bath? Where has he learned to do this? How does Toto almost boil himself alive? And the last question is, why does the author say Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long? These questions are of NCRT and can be done uh, taking the help of the text. Well, that's all we have in this video. I hope you have understood and enjoyed the story The Adventures of Toto by Ruskin Bond. For more videos, don't forget to subscribe the channel RRP Tutorials and ring the notification bell for getting the notifications of new videos. Thank you for watching.